Hey guys, my name's Kate, and welcome back to the Craftober Spooktacular. Last week kind of got a bit off track because life happened, but the last couple days of October there's going to be a video each day because it's part of a mini-series, and in this 3-part set, we're making Ancestor dolls. So, I want to be perfectly clear, this is not like making haunted dolls or possessed whatever or something. This is literally creating a space for your ancestors, like your family, to visit. And to do that, you don't have to use a bottle, but it's kind of sort of human-shaped anyway. So you're going to need however many bottles and ping-pong balls you're making for these. I'm going to do 2. You could do 1 for particular people in your family who have passed. You could make 1 for parents' family lines, so your mom's maternal, dad's maternal, dad's paternal. For this, I'm just going to do 1 for my maternal line, 1 for the paternal line. So, I'm using ping pong balls for the heads because it's lightweight and you won't have to build it up as much. And they're just going to kind of be there. And in order to do the arms and everything, you're going to need some wire to do the armature. Now, you could just do the full body in the wire and then cover it in kind of an air dry modeling clay. This one is from Polyform. It's just a little faster and easier. I'm thinking, because I haven't actually done this yet, but to do exposed parts like the arms and around the head in clay, and then just have fabric covering the rest of the body, because after the head is sculpted, and you can do either like realistic lifelike sort of sculpture, or you can make it kind of skeletal, because they are representations of your ancestors, your deceased, because you're calling in your dead. It's not like someone else's family line or anything. You are calling to your family. You have the head, body, arms, whatever else. And if you're doing maternal and paternal, you could just use the body of the bottle as like a natural waistline to have a skirt coming down from. It's a little more complicated for the paternal line if you don't want it to look like they're wearing a dress, but I'm going to try and differentiate pants. Or you could just do the whole thing out of the wire, as previously said. It doesn't really matter if it's clear or brown or green or anything. If you want to leave some of the glass exposed, you can. It's up to you. You don't have to. You don't have to not. It doesn't really matter. And to work with the wire, you're going to need some pliers, just like some pliers to maneuver it, and some wire cutters. Unless you want the full thing just wrapped around your figure, in which case you do you, but that's not really where I'm going with it. And also, if you're using bottles or jars or anything that has had some kind of substance in it already, make sure that you do a pretty thorough clean out of everything in there and let it dry. I'm going to leave mine outside to dry for like an hour or so, just so that everything evaporates. It's pretty hot outside today, so that works. If you are doing a jar or a bottle, you can put little mementos or a note or something in there if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to. Also, because this is the neck in the bottle version, and the head's just kind of going on top of it, if you'd like, you can even make the head kind of removable or have it be on a little hinge or something there, so that you can put something in at a later date. And in addition to that, when you're communing with spirits, whether they be nature spirits, ancestral spirits, whatever, you generally have some kind of communication gateway, as it were, whether it's a basic candle or some incense or something. The fire creates a bit of a portal. So, you're going to want 2 flower pots, 1 for each of them. So if you're making 5, you want 5 flower pots or tiny bowls or something that are big enough for either a tea light or some incense to fit in. And I haven't entirely decided what I'm doing for that, but if you want to go the tea light route, I would suggest maybe even just anointing it with some olive oil in a kind of spiral motion, because olive oil has been used for thousands of years for ritual purposes and for consecration and stuff, so it's a sacred oil. So just raid the kitchen, wake it up, and you can use that if you want to. As far as incense, I'm using Scott Cunningham's complete book of incense, oils, and brews. And there are quite a few... Where did they go? There are a number of spirit incenses in here, but most of them have poisonous elements to them, and he's not recommending that you actually do them, so... I'm probably going to end up doing the sandalwood and lavender, and then after you get the actual body completed, because that's what all we're doing today, tomorrow we're going to be painting, so any features, if you wanted ancestor representation to be skeletal, you would put in like the blacks for the eyes and stuff, and any hair or what have you. But the air dry clay does take about 24 hours to dry, unless you heat it, like leave it outside in the sun for a while, then it might speed up a little bit, but we'll see. So there's that, and then day 3 is the dressing and consecration sort of process, which is where the incense slash candle slash what have you goes in there. So anyway, I'm going to let these fully dry outside for a while, go do some yard work, come back in probably a couple hours, and start the sculpting process on there. See you in a bit, guys. Okay, so back when I was planning to do a full skeleton, I got this guy as a model. We're still going to be using the head, chest, arms area, mostly head and arms. It's gonna just sit over here as a reference. So take the bottle, the wire, the little ping-pong ball, the wire cutters and pliers, and then just start doing the armature part. We're going to be doing the initial clay application to the head part before attaching it to the bottle. I might chime in periodically as we're going through this, but it'll pretty much just be sped up 5 to 10 times and get back to you when this part is done. And for the clay part, you're also going to need any tools or interesting rocks you want to use to smooth out the pieces or create shapes. These are actual sculpting tools, but a lot of them, like these, are can be found in like dental supply stuff too. A basic idea of what we're working with. That's kind of the bare bones. So I believe it's an 18 gauge wire, and if you notice, it's just kind of crossed at the back of the neck there to give the arms some extra support and make it a little more sturdy. I'm going to get back to the speed round. So I finished the sculpt, and he's had about 24, slightly under 24 hours to dry, and this is what he looks like now. I will say that the clay and sculpture, the way that I have it, seems to be pretty stable. He just fell over and everything seems fine. There are some cracks, especially right here and in his shoulders, from where it wasn't as even an application as maybe would be best. But I'm going to be painting him for the next step, so that should even out some things, and the cracks actually add to the idea of a bone structure. And in the interim, I did her sculpt too, and she turned out pretty good. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to be back in a little bit doing the painting. So when I upload it, that'll be tomorrow. So yeah. And cut to that. If you want to see more of my videos, there's a Halloween Spooktacular playlist up here. The playlist for these guys is going to be right here, and the link for my other channel where I talk about plants and fun things like that is over here. And if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, hit the button down below and the bell next to it so you're actually notified when I upload. See you tomorrow, guys. Have a great night.